Have you ever taken a step toward your dreams, yet felt a quiet emptiness and fear tugging at your heart? Sophie and Daniel had, newly married, they left behind the warmth of Australia and arrived in America. Hope in one hand, uncertainty in the other. America promised opportunity, a fresh start, and dreams waiting to be realized. But with every step, a silent question lingered in their hearts. Would they truly find the life they were seeking here? Their first apartment was modest, but their hearts were filled with grand dreams. Moving boxes lined the corners, and a single framed photo from their last day in Australia leaned against the wall, silently reminding them of the life they had left behind. Sophie ran her fingers along the edges of the photo, feeling nostalgia mixed with a quiet ache. Daniel held her hand tightly and whispered, "We'll build something beautiful here, together." The first days passed in a blur of paperwork, new jobs, and late nights. Daniel immersed himself in work, returning home exhausted yet determined. Sophie tried to make the apartment feel like a home, adding small personal touches. Yet the quiet corners reflected the emptiness she felt inside. Then, one morning, life offered a gentle flicker of hope. Sophie realized she was pregnant. Tears of joy and relief streamed down her face. For a fleeting moment, all fears, all lonely nights seemed worth it. But happiness, as life often shows, can be fragile. Weeks later, Sophie suffered a miscarriage. The silence that followed was suffocating, heavy with grief too deep for words. Nights were spent sitting together on the sofa, holding hands, praying, mourning the child they would never meet. The apartment, once a symbol of hope, now echoed their sorrow. Time passed. The sharp edge of grief softened, yet the memory lingered. Years later, another pregnancy brought them hope again. And this time, they welcomed twins. Ethan, gentle, intelligent, and naturally gifted, and Liam, mischievous, restless, and full of untamed energy. Even in those first days, Daniel and Sophie noticed differences. Ethan's milestones brought joy and pride, while Liam's struggles often went unnoticed. Without realizing it, the first seed of comparison and favoritism had been planted. This chapter lays the foundation for a family's emotional journey, a story of hope, loss, and the delicate beginnings of rivalry. Behind smiles, Sophie and Daniel carry hidden grief. Within the children, seeds of longing, frustration, and unspoken pain quietly stir. This is not just the beginning of life in a new land. It is the emotional crucible that will shape their lives for years to come. As the boys grew, the differences between Ethan and Liam became more obvious. Ethan was bright, obedient, and eager to learn. Every small achievement made Sophie and Daniel beam with pride. Liam, on the other hand, was mischievous and struggled with studies. No matter how hard he tried, it seemed nothing he did was enough to earn the same praise. School became a battlefield for Liam, while Ethan excelled in classes, sports, and even made friends easily. Liam often felt invisible. The constant comparisons made him doubt himself. Even at home, the subtle glances, the extra smiles, and the small celebrations for Ethan left Liam feeling unwanted and unloved. Deep inside, a thought echoed in his mind. Why do they treat Ethan better than me? Aren't we both their children? The parents, unaware of the deep emotional turmoil brewing inside Liam, continued focusing more on Ethan's strengths. They tried to guide Liam, but their guidance often felt like criticism to him. The more they tried, the more Liam withdrew. His grades suffered and his confidence dwindled. He stopped putting effort into school, no longer caring about achievements. All he could think about was the unfairness of his parents' love. Meanwhile, Ethan thrived. His dedication and natural talent led him to shine academically and socially. He quickly became the pride of the family, oblivious to Liam's growing resentment. Home, which should have been a safe place, became a silent battlefield for Liam. Every family dinner, every conversation seemed to remind him of the invisible divide. The frustration in his heart grew, mixing with sadness and jealousy, forming a storm that threatened to consume his childhood. Yet despite feeling unloved, Liam still longed for acceptance. He wanted his parents to notice him, to love him for who he was, not just compare him to his brother. But every attempt seemed to fall short. This chapter shows the first real cracks in Liam's heart, where neglect, even if unintentional, begins shaping a child's future decisions, personality, and trust in family. By the end of this chapter, Liam makes a silent promise to himself. He will find his own way in life, one that proves his worth, even if his parents never fully see it. As the years passed, the gap between Ethan and Liam widened. Ethan continued to excel, his successes celebrated both at school and at home. Awards, teacher praises, and small recognitions made him the shining star of the family. Liam, meanwhile, had stopped caring about academics entirely. The constant comparisons and lack of attention had eroded his motivation. School felt meaningless. Every lesson seemed like a reminder that no matter what he did, he would never be as loved or appreciated as Ethan. The thought haunted Liam daily. Why does Ethan get all the love and attention? Why am I always second? Even small achievements he once felt proud of now seemed worthless. His heart carried frustration, sadness, and a sense of injustice. Slowly, he stopped trying altogether. Homework went undone, teachers' warnings went ignored, and the once hopeful boy began slipping further into apathy. Ethan, on the other hand, flourished. He was disciplined, focused, and admired by teachers and classmates alike. Every success of Ethan reminded Liam of his own perceived failure, deepening the emotional rift between them. At home, Sophie and Daniel noticed Liam's withdrawal but did not realize the depth of his resentment. They continued to support Ethan wholeheartedly, hoping Liam would find his path, unaware that their favoritism, however subtle, was shaping a storm inside him. Eventually, Liam made a decision that would change the course of his life. He dropped out of school. It was not an impulsive act but the result of years of internalized rejection and bitterness. He left not just academics but also the hope of parental recognition behind. Ethan, meanwhile, continued to rise, graduating, excelling, and preparing for a successful future. This chapter captures a crucial turning point: how childhood neglect, even if unintentional, can lead to life-altering decisions. Liam's bitterness and feelings of inferiority push him away from the life his parents envisioned, while Ethan becomes the embodiment of parental pride. Yet deep within Liam, a spark remained. Though overshadowed and hurt, he carried a silent determination to prove his worth, on his terms, and away from the shadow of Ethan's perfection. By the end of this chapter, the family is on a path of divergence. Ethan's life moves forward in structured success, while Liam's grows in rebellion, silence, and unrecognized potential. The emotional consequences of favoritism and neglect are now fully visible, setting the stage for future confrontations and eventual redemption. As the brothers entered adulthood, the consequences of childhood favoritism became impossible to ignore. Ethan had graduated with distinction, establishing himself as intelligent, capable, and ambitious. He had become the pride of Sophie and Daniel, the embodiment of every hope and dream they had invested in their children. Liam, however, remained distant and bitter. The years of feeling undervalued had hardened him. Though he had survived childhood without recognition, he had also developed a simmering resentment toward Ethan. Each family celebration, each proud smile from their parents directed at Ethan, felt like salt in a wound that had never healed. Liam's silence had grown into anger, though outwardly he often kept it contained. One day, the tension between the brothers reached a breaking point. Ethan confronted Liam, his words sharp and accusing. "I work hard for this family, and you contribute nothing. You're a burden. Leave the house." Shocked and devastated, Liam was physically pushed out of the home. Sophie and Daniel watched silently, caught between parental instinct and the overpowering dominance of Ethan. Their silence, though meant to avoid conflict, only deepened Liam's sense of abandonment. Exiled and heartbroken, Liam felt the full weight of neglect and favoritism. Yet, within that pain, a determination began to stir. He realized he would not remain defined by the shadow of his brother's achievements or the partiality of his parents. The bitterness of his youth became fuel, and he set out to forge his own path, one that would ensure he would never again be overlooked or underestimated. Meanwhile, Ethan continued to thrive. His life followed a structured path of career achievements, personal success, and family milestones. Though outwardly successful, the seeds of arrogance and entitlement had begun to grow. Ethan believed he had earned everything, forgetting the fragility and emotion that had shaped his own childhood. This chapter highlights the fracturing of family bonds, showing how favoritism, resentment, and unspoken grievances can escalate into conflict. Liam's exile becomes both a painful consequence of neglect and the beginning of his journey toward self-made success. Meanwhile, Ethan's rise to prominence foreshadows future tension, as the contrast between the brothers' lives becomes starker than ever. By the end of this chapter, the foundation for a major emotional confrontation is laid, setting the stage for betrayal, consequences, and eventual reconciliation. Years had passed, and Ethan had grown into a man of success and influence. His career flourished, and he achieved everything his parents had dreamed for him. Yet success had brought with it a shadow: arrogance. Ethan had begun to take his parents' love and sacrifices for granted. He believed that his achievements entitled him to control, even over the family he once cherished. At home, Ethan's behavior toward Sophie and Daniel began to change. His wife, unaware of the deeper family history, mirrored his attitude. Together, they imposed strict rules and harsh treatment on the aging parents. Meals were withheld, their opinions dismissed, and their comfort ignored. The very people who had given him life and nurtured him were now being treated as burdens. Meanwhile, Liam, exiled years ago, had channeled his pain into ambition. Using his resilience and determination, he built a successful career in business. Unlike Ethan, Liam's success was hard-won, a testament to his grit, intelligence, and the lessons learned from neglect. He became a wealthy and respected figure, though never forgetting the wounds of his childhood. The turning point came when Liam discovered the truth about Ethan's treatment of their parents. Shocked and heartbroken, he realized the gravity of the situation. The thought of his parents, now elderly and vulnerable, suffering at the hands of the son they had cherished, filled him with both anger and sorrow. He decided to take action, not out of revenge, but out of love and duty. Liam approached his parents, now frail but still filled with love for their children. He promised them safety, care, and respect, everything Ethan had failed to provide. With meticulous planning, Liam arranged to bring Sophie and Daniel into his luxurious home, welcoming them with warmth, comfort, and gratitude. This chapter highlights the contrast between entitlement and earned success, as well as the consequences of arrogance and favoritism. Ethan's rise, unchecked by humility, leads to moral and emotional failure, while Liam's journey shows that even those who are neglected can grow into strength and compassion. By the end of this chapter, the stage is set for the final resolution, where love, family bonds, and redemption intersect, leading to healing and reconciliation. Liam could no longer ignore the pain his parents had endured. Sophie and Daniel, now elderly, had been living under Ethan's harsh treatment, their love and sacrifices repaid with neglect and disrespect. Seeing them suffer ignited a deep resolve in Liam. He decided it was time to rewrite the family story, not through revenge, but through care, love, and restoration. With precision and determination, Liam brought his parents to his luxurious home. Every detail was arranged with thoughtfulness: comfortable rooms, delicious meals, and an atmosphere of respect. Liam's wife, understanding the weight of the moment, welcomed Sophie and Daniel warmly. For the first time in years, they felt safe, appreciated, and loved. The reunion was emotional. Tears flowed freely as Sophie and Daniel embraced Liam, their hearts full of relief and gratitude. They marveled at how their once overlooked son had grown into a man of strength, integrity, and compassion. Liam, who had carried the scars of childhood neglect, had transformed his pain into purpose, becoming the pillar his parents needed. Ethan, witnessing the scene from a distance, felt a surge of shame and regret. His arrogance and entitlement had led him to treat the people who had nurtured him with cruelty. Although the tension with his brother remained, Ethan's heart began to soften. He realized the true meaning of family, love, and humility. Liam's actions healed old wounds. Sophie and Daniel finally experienced peace in their twilight years. Surrounded by love and care, the house, once filled with silent resentment and division, now resonated with laughter, warmth, and reconciliation. This final chapter emphasizes forgiveness, redemption, and the triumph of compassion over resentment. Liam's journey from a neglected, unloved child to a successful, loving man demonstrates that early wounds can be healed through courage, empathy, and determination. Meanwhile, Ethan's confrontation with his mistakes highlights the consequences of favoritism and arrogance, leaving room for reflection and growth. In the end, the family found harmony. Liam's love and dedication restored trust, and his parents spent their remaining years with dignity, care, and happiness. The story closes as a testament to the enduring power of familial love, the resilience of the human spirit, and the idea that it is never too late to make things right.